Hey, it is October 8th, 2025. The year is almost over. We're like 2 weeks away from Halloween. And really less than 100 days to Christmas.
You're rushing things, right?
Am I rushing things? I don't know. It's like next thing you know, Chris will be in session.
Well, I
fighting
knew
the
that was
Democrats.
the setup for. We have a date in the calendar, and what's that date that's coming up, Chris? For when you go back into session.
I believe it is. I think it's Wednesday. I want to say Wednesday, January 6th. I want to say it's Wednesday, January 16th.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit later this year.
Yeah, it's after
a little bit
King
later
Day.
in the month.
So that means we can do fundraisers until the 16th, which is good. I mean, you know.
So tell us what we're looking
Can you guys hear me
forward
all right?
to.
Yeah, we can.
So tell us what we're looking forward to with the upcoming session. What do you think the major thrusts will be?
Chris, can you hear us? You're lagging a little bit. Can you hear us, Chris?
I can hear you. Yeah, let me try. Okay. Yeah, let me try to get on with my phone.
Well, Dwight, now it's just you and me.
Yeah, so let's just talk about the Schumer shutdown. Day 8. Day 8, and looks like we're headed into a. Basically we're going to have some furloughs coming up. Hey, Chris.
There we go, Chris.
There we go.
There you go. Much better.
All right. Welcome to Carroll County. Not a great interview.
It's basically a conspiracy by the Democrats to keep Carroll County off the net.
Oh, Dwight. So let's talk about what's coming up with session and talk about a little bit about when it is. We talked about that's coming out a little later in January. Will you be introducing bills, and what bills are you planning to introduce, if so?
Yeah, so one of the bills that I'll be will be third year. It is designed to go after who sell the product individual. Right now, folks that law enforcement is able to figure out who sold that man or woman that all directly them. They charge the same thing they would get if they hadn't killed them. Different, but a lot of times parents, these families always it's almost impossible to get somebody for selling deadly product. So earlier this year, when I put the bill in, I was able to pick up somebody on the other side of the aisle, vice chairman of JPR. Somebody you guys are probably pretty familiar with, Jeff Wallstreicher.
Oh yeah, we know him.
You're familiar with Jeff Wallstreicher,
Campbell Soup Kid.
And I was, and I mean, it's very hard to find Democrats to support this bill. So the way I like to think of it is every year I pick up a few more Democrat co-sponsors. Like I said, I was able to pick up a Democrat cross-file with Senator Jeff Wallstreicher. So I feel like every year I do this, I'm able to maybe get a little more, a couple more supporters. And I'm just going to keep going at it until I get this thing passed. Because the reality is, there's been so many examples. I mean, earlier, back in the summer, I want to say it was July, there was a mass overdose in Baltimore City where there was around 30 some people. I think only one or two maybe actually died. But the question I asked was, what if 10, 15, 20, what if all 30 of those people had died and they had all bought from the same batch? In Carroll County, we just had a situation 2 weeks ago where there was a bad batch going around. 4 or 5 up in overdose with one 5 people overdose. What if all those people? Well, there's no dealer. No dealer wouldn't be anything. If he got called.
Yeah.
That's one of the.
Dwight, I'll let you do the follow-up, Dwight.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good to know that Doug at Ballstriker is actually supporting and is not, being obstinate and basically being a obstructionist. I'm glad to see,
Surprisingly, your county council, your county executive, all have been supportive. It is very hard to find. For some reason, Montgomery elected officials who are really been supportive of it. I do appreciate it. I wish I need to find more Democrats outside of Montgomery County, but I'm very grateful.
How about the PG County Democrats? Because I mean, this is really not a partisan issue. What you're talking about it's not a Republican Democrat issue. It's basically a right or wrong issue. And you think with the crisis in PG County, I don't know if you've driven into PG County recently. I do that a couple times a week when I go to NASA.
Not very often.
And over at the IKEA, as soon as I see the IKEA store, I start smelling marijuana pot. So you mean they're, and they've had a rash of overdoses in the last few months. You think, Anthony Muse, he's in the Senate though, right? Or is he a delegate?
It's in the Senate.
Okay. He might be somebody that might be, he used to agree, he agrees with us on the social issues. He might be somebody that could introduce a similar bill in the Senate.
Yeah.
And he might be able to point you to some PG County Democrats that would play ball.
Yeah, you're right. He is one of the better.
The last Blue Dog Democrat. I don't consider it's too strong of a word for him, but last Blue Dog.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, but yeah, there's our House Republican caucus, kind of with a lot of I saw the one with the, obviously you're familiar with the news story with the state superintendent out in Des Moines, who used to be a proud Marylander.
Maryland Democrat. I wonder if he voted for Barack Obama in 2012.
Oh, I'm sure he voted Republican. Yeah, so he so obviously that's his ways. Yeah, not only were we surprised, he wasn't just a teacher, but then
and the allegations when he was in Baltimore City Public Schools, there was a lot of allegations going around about grade inflation.
Yeah, and then we find out, not only all that, but the surprise, he also voted here.
Mm-hmm.
He's still on the voter rolls, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, the Democrats are kind of a tough spot because they like to.
They say the voter rolls are always clean and pristine, and nobody who shouldn't be voting is on that. Well, we got People's Exhibit A. And if there's one, there's another.
Yep.
Well, but there's a broader issue. Even if he was eligible in 2012, right? Just assuming that for a moment. As it turns out, he had not voted in multiple federal elections. So 14, 16, go forth and whatever. The rolls are not cleaned up when people fail to vote for 2 federal elections, which is the standard under Help America Vote Act. And so that's one of the reasons is this Maryland rolls have gotten so out of date. is this refusal to take appropriate steps to clean up the rolls. Would have been easier. I mean, he should have been off the rolls by, I guess it would be 2018, assuming he didn't. I don't know that he voted in 12, but assume 14 and 16. By 18, he should have been off. Yet 7 years later, he's still on the rolls. And that is unfortunately a very common phenomena of people who register just stay on forever and ever, which might have been no harm, no foul when we voted on election day, because you would go to your local poll and somebody would notice and know whether you were there. But with mail-in ballots and with early voting, it's really an opportunity for fraud, because all somebody has to do is go to the polling place and have a birthday that's roughly proximate with and provide the necessary information. So it's really something I would argue that the Democrats should be everybody is worried about, because they're as vulnerable to fraud in a primary as anyone else might be in a general election.
Yep, I agree. And I mean, and by all means, every year, at least one Republican, we put in a voter ID related bill, usually multiple bills. But this year, I think it will be a very interesting conversation with this in the news recently, and especially with all the good work that the president's doing with trying to with going after election fraud, and
You
obviously,
call it Ian's Law.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And all the and all the constant developments with all the good work Nicoli does with part. Yeah, I wouldn't bet my life for anything that state of Maryland is going to pass legislation, but I feel like the conversations are getting better, and it's getting harder for the Democrats to deny that this actually exists.
It's interesting. I wonder if events haven't swept beyond the voter ID. I mean, it would be great to have, and most states do have voter ID, to be clear, and it's not a big deal. But the focus that we really ought to have is on cleaning up the rolls, because if you're committing fraud, the last thing you would want to do is have to come into a polling place. It would be unfortunately, it would be much easier to do it vote by mail if you get the ballot delivered to you, and if you just, basically put in a signature, and they really can't do much to check the signature. So the cleaning up the rolls is probably the top priority right now in terms of voter integrity.
And it's one of those issues when you talk to a normal person who's not even really involved in politics. I mean, they aren't. I mean, they're confused when you try. They're confused on two things. When you try to explain to them that you don't need an ID to vote. I mean, how many times do the three of us, when you're working on election day, have somebody they show up to vote and they put their hand in their back pocket and they go, "Oh, I forgot my wallet. I got to go back to the car." And I love telling them, "Oh, no, you don't." And they go,
Yep.
"What? You got to be kidding me. What do you mean? You don't need to show an ID. In fact, they won't ask you for one. They can't ask you for one." And they are just blown away. And then on the flip side, when you talk to somebody and they tell you that their kid moved out of the house years ago, they've been voting in another state, they've even gone and told the Board of Elections that my kid moved away, and they continue to get voter registration mail sent to the house. And I mean, any normal person would understand and believe that something like cleaning up the voter rolls it's not some way of disenfranchising voters or trying to take away someone's ability to vote. It's removing people who literally do not live in the state, are not voting. They moved, and we're trying to avoid fraud, which is it's such an easy opportunity for fraud. But I'm preaching to the choir here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, our friend Pat Finati, I know you've met her a couple times at conventions in the past, Chris. She has 3 kids. None of them live in her house, but she still gets like voter guides. 2 of them are out of state.
Oh yeah, my sister moved to California for a couple of years. Yeah, mail was still showing up at the house to vote. I mean,
Yeah, and if she moved out of California, she's
So
still
tell
probably
us,
enrolled there too.
Unfortunately, she was only there for 2 years, but she did come back a liberal. So it's been it only took 2 years to change her, and it's going to take a little bit longer. But we're confident maybe by like 2030 we'll get her back to being conservative.
There's something in the water out there.
Yeah, how to get that out of their system.
so tell us what else we have to look forward to in this coming session.
So another bill that I am really excited about that one of my colleagues has put is Delegate April Miller out of Frederick County. She has put in a bill that has to do with one of the elements of the president's Big Beautiful Bill Act that allowed states to opt into this new education tax credit program where individuals can donate. If they donate to a scholarship granting organization, they can donate up to $1,700 and they will get a dollar for dollar 100% match. They'll get a federal tax credit. So there's almost no downside to donating to these scholarship organizations. And obviously, the idea here is that it will help a lot of these private schools be able to offer more scholarships and offer more opportunities for kids who are in failing schools to get out of those failing schools. And this has just been this. I mean, if there was any doubt, and I don't think there is, but if anybody had any doubt that the Democrats aren't completely under the thumb of the teachers union, this program that has come down from the federal government tells you everything you need to know. So the governor has the choice of opting our state into the program or not. He is currently on the fence, apparently, about it. April Miller, her bill that she's putting in would force our state to opt into the program. And what you're seeing right now is you're seeing the Democrats. They've been putting out op-eds. They've been putting up. They've got their megaphones out, and they're trying to make this argument on why we shouldn't do this. And I was explaining this to my wife, I think over the weekend. She said, why wouldn't the state want to do that? And I said, exactly. It's not costing the state of Maryland anything. It's not taking $1 out of funding towards state funding towards schools. But the reality is, if they send one more, if they send one kid, two kid, 50 kids, 100 kids, 1,000 more kids to private school, that's 1, 2, 10, 100,000, whatever, less kids that are going to private school. And for Pete's sake, if that results in one single public school teacher not needing to be there, one position not needed, then that's one less member in the teachers union. That's less money coming. And so the fact that the Democrats are really digging their heels in and fighting against opting in this program that won't cost us a dime just shows you that they don't care about getting kids out of family. They don't. And the thing is, these kids, they're not in my district. The kids that need this the most, they're not in Carroll County. They're down in the city. They're probably in Prince George. And they're the ones who would benefit from this kind of program. And the fact that the Democrats are like, well, I don't think we should do it, and the governor's on the fence, which is really, really, really disheartening because, I mean, the governor has gone on the record. I mean, the book kind of put him on the scene. I mean, he has given a lot of credit to going to military school, but that basically put him on the right path in life. That he got out of Baltimore City schools and went to a military school.
And remember, now he's beholden to the teachers' unions. Remember when the old Westmore, the other Westmore, was for charter schools too, and this guy is against charter schools.
So it's disappointing because I think deep down in his heart, he knows whether it's charter schools, whether it's private, military, whatever. And I'm not, and by all means, I'm not anti-public school. I'm anti-failing public schools. And the fact that and yeah, it's just disappointing to know that but he still has time. I don't think he's firmly said that he's not going to opt the state into the program, and I hope he does change his mind. April Miller can throw this bill in the trash, but I do think that he knows. I think he truly knows that a program like this is great, and that giving kids who are in bad areas going to failing schools, that for many of these kids, it's going to be their only way out.
Yeah, we've had a governor who went to Gilman on a scholarship, Princeton on a scholarship, Governor Ehrlich. Those are the kind of kids that need, you may become governor. I mean, Bob Ehrlich is the great story, the success story of basically private scholarships. And I think imagine how many more kids would get the opportunity, if Westmore would just play ball, frankly. And speaking of Westmore, and so what's happening with the Key Bridge? It looks like he's being defiant and doesn't want to abide by the civil rights law. As a result, I think the president's going to pull funding for the bridge.
Yeah, I need to look more. So I work in state procurement, so I understand procurement pretty well here in the state of Maryland, and it's when there's federal funding for a project, we are the state is supposed to entertain the idea of having a disadvantaged business enterprise goal, a DBE goal, which is exactly what the project did. I have to look more into it. I know that President Trump keeps talking about that we need to end these we need to end race-based socioeconomic programs such as DBE. I don't know if I don't know if he's actually pulled the plug officially on the program. So the state of Maryland, I mean, when they put out this procurement, was it late last year, earlier this year? I can't remember. They had a DBE goal on the procurement, on the solicitation, and obviously now Trump is threatening the funding, saying that it's because they are trying to force this DB. They're going to force the prime contractor to give out higher minority subcontractors.
Mm-hmm.
If Trump, that's really what he wants to end the DBE program. He needs to end the DBE program. But even if he has to end the DBE program, if he doesn't want that to happen, I think we need to get rid of that DBE goal. There are ways to get rid of it, and especially if the federal government's telling us to. Anybody in the federal government who's going to fight us on it. So I think the state needs to probably just the solicitation, move the DBE goal, and so try so we don't lose funding for this entire project.
Is there any legislative?
If I could, right, there's a distinction to be drawn that's, I think, important here between what are small business goals, disadvantaged business enterprise goals, which is acceptable or is permissible based on the court rulings, and race-based and gender-based, but particularly race-based objectives, which run afoul of the Civil Rights Act. So one of the challenges has been to look not just at the top level way in which the DBE goals have been laid out, but to look at the fine print as to whether or not there are either goals or objectives or however it gets expressed, which run into this impermissible race-based program. And so it's not in the fine print, but it's effectively in the details of how the procurement goes as to whether or not it's sort of what category that those DBE objectives fall into.
Yeah. There's no issue with our small business program. No issue with veteran related procurement programs. Make sure subcontractors get a piece of work. there's never been an issue with race neutral procurement program. It's conscious. So yeah, I mean, if the Trump administration is saying we're not going to give you federal dollars if you're forcing this to go to minority subcontractors, then we just need to get out of it so they don't pull the funding. But yeah, I think the federal government, if they really want to be done with the DBE program, they need to be done with the DBE program. And then, of course, on the state level, we have our own version of that, the minority business. But that's not affected by this federal dollar, so by default.
So, Chris, do you think we'll get through this session without any tax increases or fees increased? Considering or do you think Westmore's going to throw the Democrats in the House under the bus by forcing them to raise taxes on something in an election year?
I would say probably no. I mean, number one, I think we raised enough tax fees in a single session earlier this year, and two, it's obviously an election year. So don't see what wants that. And I mean, I don't know if we're necessarily. I don't think we're necessarily at the point where we were back in 2014. All of the tax and fee increases that were 8 years happened, where people were just up in arms. And Larry Hogan was able to capture frustration and win and up major upset. I would like to think that we're there. Unfortunately, I think that it probably has to get worse before it can get better. People are frustrated, especially when it comes to. I went and got some tag work done or title work done. Back, done nothing but regret not going there before July 1st when all these changes happened, because it basically cost almost double to get done what I had to get done versus by June 30th. But I hope we don't increase any more taxes and fees. But unfortunately, I think once we get to election year, I wouldn't be shocked if the Democrats get right back at it. But I do think we're going to get to a point. I don't necessarily think we're there, but we're going to get to a point where independents start to feel that. Unfortunately, right now the Democrats, anything that's hurting their wallet, they are channeling this towards DC. So many things that affect the cost of living. It's coming out of Apple, whether we're talking about the cost of energy, talking about that capital. That's as a result of it.
And Chris, Westmore found a whole lot of money for these furloughed government employees. Where did he get that money from? Is it just more deficit spending on the? I mean, does he have a printing press we don't know about in the governor's mansion in basement somewhere?
It has been very confusing because they had the state do a mass hiring of former federal employees. I mean, specifically for these jobs, you could only apply if you were a former federal employee. And then forward a month later, and they're asking people to retire or resign, state employees. So bringing in federal employees who are going to be making, generally speaking, most of them, I think, are coming in making more than the folks that were already working for the state, just because these guys in the federal government, they do make more, and they weren't going to take a new job unless they were somewhere in that ballpark of making what they were making.
They're making more than senators and delegates, I take it.
Well, that's definitely a fact. There's not a lot of state employees who are making less than what we're making, but it's a part-time. It's considered a part-time position, serving as a senator delegate. So I'm not complaining. But so we bring in, so the state is now overpaying or paying these new employees came from the federal government more than folks who are already there. And then we turn around and we say, hey, those of you who are here, whether you've been here for a couple of years or you're approaching retirement, we're going to pay you. And by the way, that plan, not a great role. The way that was, I don't know who came up with that plan, but the incentives to get these people to retire or leave state employment early, it was not a lot. There wasn't a lot of value in taking that voluntarily resigning from the state and taking advantage. But it's just, I understand it. The Democrats, they want to be the big hero to former federal employees. We are home to a ton of former federal employees, especially where you guys live in Montgomery County. But I mean, it's very disrespectful to state employees who have been there for years and years and years to say, we're going to pay these guys more than you who just walked in the door. Oh, and by the way, we want you to quit. Like, how is that for morale?
Yeah.
So are there particular departments where they're doing more hiring than others? Where are the federal employees going in?
It wasn't so much departments, but it was 4 categories. It was like accounting/finance, procurement. I want to say anything related to public safety, and then there was another category. I can't remember what it was.
So they're not all at MDOT.
No, they're not. No, they're not all at MDOT. No, and I would, as somebody who used to work at MDOT, in this particular case, they are not getting a special carve out to keep hiring. The folks at MDOT are also under a hiring freeze, so no special treatment for MDOT this time around.
Yeah, I mean, anything to make MDOT more efficient at the MVA would be appreciated.
Or get the purple line down your way.
I agree, but that is the biggest boondoggle in years in Maryland. I mean, I think the last boondoggle may have been the Ravens Stadium. Sorry, Ravens fans, but that was something the taxpayer. But I mean, it's a net plus for us, I think, in general. But it did have some overruns on the stadium build project, but I'm sure we recoup that money now with all the concerts and naming rights and so on.
We'll wait to see what happens with Pimlico, right?
Oh, I would bet I don't know. I'd bet my car, maybe not my house, but I'd bet my car that whole thing turns into a disaster. I mean,
why don't they just move Pimlico to the Laurel Raceway? Right?
I don't know.
It's better parking, nicer area. You don't get shot at.
I don't know if you remember, but the legislation that was passed in 2024, it created this overseeing body that was supposed to
We have a racing commission now.
That was going to be since it's a responsibility of government horse racing, but that organization they dismantled it as quickly as they put it together. I think during session this year it was entirely dismantled, and a lot of us legislators on both sides of the aisle were like, what is going on? So by all means, it's already not off to a good start. if they pull that thing off in a timely manner, I'll eat my words, but I highly doubt it.
it's I think the problem is cities and states they see these big sporting events things. Honestly, we could save so much money if we just move the Preakness to the Laurel Raceway and make life easier for everyone. Frankly, Laurel has better parking, a little bit safer than downtown Baltimore, where Pimlico is right now. And shut down Pimlico, and we could bulldoze it and put up some nice, fancy housing there.
Don't even get me started on the amount of money cities spend. on sports. It is it's something that every year, and I get more. The more I learn about it, the more it angers. Just look at down near Prince George's County, not so much Montgomery County, but the little games, the Redskins, Command Tommies, whatever they're called. The little games that they played with us, Virginia, DC. Look at the Orioles, the games that what's the game? Kids.
Yeah.
His one son. The games that they play. These sports organizations,
why did we fight to keep the Redskins out of curiosity? Camden Yards is older than FedEx Field, or actually Northwest Park, whatever they're calling it today. And Camden Yards, evidently, they have not been, belly aching about a new stadium. There is nothing wrong with FedEx Field. The legislator just let the Redskins walk to Washington, D.C. They gift wrapped the Redskins and said, here you go, D.C., take them. That is a revenue maker for the state of Maryland. It's just Westmore and the Democrats just go to D.C. It's like, really?
I'm frankly on that. I'm glad Westmore did what he did. So let him go to DC. The Redskins are putting up a ton of money. DC is putting up a whole lot of money in terms of infrastructure. If DC wants to spend the money for the Redskins, God bless.
Then what do we do with it? Yeah.
That's how I am. There's no. I don't know. There's been different supposed benefit, economic benefit from these sports quite extremely inflated. Whenever these teams are playing their little get cities to compete, cities and states to compete, they claim that it's so much economic value, and then there's been reports coming out when they look back, like, okay, well, how much economic value did the Redskins bring Prince George's County, that area, for that over that span?
Yeah, and I think the location they had for FedEx Field in Oxon Hill, Landover, I should say, it was a horrible location. You know what they should have done is put it over by. I think if the Orioles were to ever build a new stadium, they should build it over by the airport so it's easier to get to and safer for the patrons who go there. I think the location is horrible. But I think, to the Redskins, FedEx Field was built by Jack Kent Cook's money. The state built the ramps to get to the stadium, but the stadium was built by Jack Kent Cook. He didn't go to taxpayers like Art Modell. On the other hand, the Ravens, that was definitely funded by the stadium authorities in Maryland. And I'm not really a Redskins fan, so but what do we do now with that state? It's going to be like the old Cap Center. I don't know if you remember that. That might be before your time, but there was the Capitals used to play in Landover, not too far from where FedEx Field is. And that place sat empty after the Capitals and the Wizards moved to DC. It stayed vacant until Magic Johnson came and bulldozed, and now it's like a open air mall, so to speak. I think that's going to happen to FedEx Field because
the owner, I believe the command, their owners have promised. I think it's like a handshake deal, which I can't wait to see final version of this like, but I believe that I read that they have promised the state and they promised local Prince George's elected officials that they're going to build like some kind of, that they're going to tear it down and build some kind of mixed use commercial residential development. And they're doing it out of the kindness of their hearts because they feel bad that they're leaving. Once again, I would be very
That's a little suspect.
we'll back 10, 15, 20 years and see how that worked out. I mean, I hope the best for Landover, and I hope they get that project, but it sounds like there's nothing in ink, and we're just kind of more hoping that the owners follow through on a very kind.
And I don't know if you've ever been to Landover, but not many people really want to live in Landover.
I'm not. I've not been there in many.
Could be a data center, Dwight. So
That is true. We could put a data
so
center there.
it's a whole nother controversy that we don't have time for. But
They won't even need to tear the stadium down. They could just plop a data center right on the.
Yeah, exactly. They could do multi-levels, put some decking in there. Yeah.
right. So tell me what you guys have coming up, Chris, starting with you in terms of upcoming events as we kind of round this all out.
I mean, personally, I don't have anything officially going on. I always do a Christmas party fundraiser up at my house here in Carroll County, and I'll do that sometime in December, but haven't locked down a date. But we've our Carroll County Republican Central Committee. They're having a Lincoln Reagan dinner. And if you make me tell you the date, I am not going to be able to tell you that. But it is this month, and Dwight probably can.
Dwight should be able to tell you that.
Yeah, give me a second. I think it's next week.
Is it next week already? It's Congressman
Scott Perry.
Yeah.
And if Dwight throws out the date.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still tickets available for that. So that's going to be a good. Ooh.
Also, Chris, what's your website? I know you're running for re-election soon, and
I am running for election. Yes, I will be on the ballot next June in the primary.
October 23rd.
October 23rd. Thank you.
5:30 and then 7:00 is the dinner. 5:30 is the VIP, and your dinner is at 7.
Yep. Yeah. So, like I said, there hasn't been a Lincoln Reagan dinner.
And tickets are a low $125 for regular tickets.
I mean, compared to the red, white, and blue, it's a steal.
Oh, the red, white, and blue was it was the VIP is cheaper than the red, white, and blue dinner was.
But yeah, yes, and I did have filed for re-election. Senator Justin Reedy, Delegate April Rose, 3 of us. We represent District 5. One other delegate represents District 5. He's not seeking re-election delegate. But 3 of us, Reedy, Rose, Tomlinson, we have we're working together as a team, and we're out there knocking on doors, getting our message out. Time to get back on the campaign trail. But I mean, in a way, it's like it. I mean, it's like it never ended. I mean, yeah, I wasn't knocking on doors, but I mean, it's not like I got elected and I stopped showing up to things. So, in many ways, it's just kind of just going on with my normal life, which is like talking to people, I like going to events and finding out what people are concerned about and seeing what's going on in the community. So, in that case, nothing's really changed. But knocking on doors, I don't do that every Saturday, just now. But I love doing that. So we'll be back out there. Are you going
to take your daughter out again, door knocking?
Say what?
You going to take your daughter out door knocking with you?
I take her to a lot of things, but I don't think she's quite there for that. I think she She might slow the team down, and I'll catch a lot of grief for
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate your being on, Chris.
Yes. Thank you, Chris. And I'll probably see you on the 23rd.
Yep, I will be there.
Great.
Cool. Good night, everyone. And
Right.
don't forget to go to Missoni's.
Thank you, guys.
Let's go down to Missoni's, where Italian cuisine shines. Let's go down to Missoni's, we'll have a good old time. Homemade pasta at Missoni's, sauces fresh and fine. Good friends gather at Missoni's, join us anytime. Taste the pizza at Missoni's, with flavor so divine. Bring your good times, appetite, join us anytime.